Yeah, that was a bad thing. Alright, anyway, let's get started, and we'll go from there. We gotta clean our image. Guys, we're gonna clean our image up for 45 minutes, and then we're gonna go back to our regular stupid escapades. So, this video will be on YouTube. It'll be on my YouTube channel, which you can find using the YouTube command. And then the notes are in the Discord channel, which you can find using that command. Good job with the for the mods, you know, making me do all that. So let's review what we talked about last week. We'll start by talking about super accepts. We were talking about transfers. So, okay, we're done. Alright, so we talked about transfers last week, and we were talking about super accepts that come along with transfers. So this hand here, we were talking about how with super accepts, we didn't want to just super accept by bidding 3 of a major, but we wanted to give more context with that super accept in case it's really close. Let me move this hand more to the left so it's not in chat. So our whole point was being able to bid our doubleton if we had one, so that our partner would know more information about our shape. That way, if it's a close call, they have the proper hand evaluation to know whether it could be working or not. So in this hand, for example, this guy's going to open a no trump, and South is going to transfer into hearts. Now North has got a doubleton club. And so what they're going to do to show that doubleton is they're going to bid 2 no over the 2 diamond bid. Because 2 spades would be a doubleton spade, and 2 hearts is a doubleton club. And the reason we structure the super accepts the way we do is so that we have the whole concept of a retransfer being available. The retransfer is very powerful because if you're not interested in game, you can just use that retransfer bid, which is 3 of the suit you use to transfer, to tell your partner, hey, I'm not interested, just take us back and we'll play it there. So we can't bid 3 clubs to show clubs because we need to have 3 diamonds available. So 3 clubs becomes our doubleton diamond. So for hearts, 2 spades is a doubleton spade, 2 no is a doubleton club, and 3 clubs is a doubleton heart, or diamond. And then for spades, 2 no is a doubleton heart, and then 3 clubs and 3 diamonds are clubs and diamonds respectively. We could have done low, middle, high, but, you know, as many times as you can make the suit natural and make it understandable, it's probably better that way. So that's the reason I put it as such. But you could always, of course, flip that depending on however you want to do it. Then we talked about the 5-4 invites over 1 no. So with 5-4 invites, my recommendation is to transfer into your 5 card suit and then just bid your 4 card suit at your next opportunity to show that hand. This doesn't really bury you, even if it's 5 spades and 4 hearts, because the worst thing is you're on the 3 level, which isn't going to be necessarily terrible opposite of 1 no opener. It could be either 3 hearts or 3 spades. So what I would do with this hand, for example, is after a no trump, I would transfer into hearts and then bid 2 spades for that invite, instead of you know, just going through Stamen or transferring and bidding 2 no. That's the way I like to play it, at least. And if you had, of course, flipped these majors, I would have transferred into 2 spades and then bid 3 hearts to let my partner pick. And of course, if it's invitational and your partner doesn't have enough to be in 3 no trump, they shouldn't bid 3 no. So they should only be bidding 3 no there, probably with a max. Unless they got the right hand to do it, like they've got minor suit tricks to back up your majors. Then we talked about the size ask. Of course, the size ask is a very critical part of the 1 no structure when we're not using just 2 no as a regular invite. We use 2 spades as a size ask. It's either a size ask or clubs. So our partner responds with 2 no for a minimum, and then 3 clubs for a max. So on this hand, our partner's got 17. They open 1 no trump. We've got a 9 count. We're not playing, we're teaching, so I can't be playing poorly. So with a 9 count, you bid 2 spades. Now your partner bids 3 clubs to show a max. And sure enough, you bid 3 no, and that's a good spot there. Then we talked about how to handle some various 2-suited holdings. So with 5-5 in the minors and a strong hand, what I would recommend doing is is using the size ask and then bidding 3 diamonds over their response to show both minors. So here, North hand would open 1 no. South would bid 2 spades for a size ask. North would bid, how many points is that? 2 no. They'd bid 2 no because they're minimal. And now at the South hand, you should bid 3 diamonds to show both minors in a strong hand. And as you can see, North has a very good interest in a spade, in a diamond slam. When you show both minors. So with that North hand, I would probably bid 3 spades over 3 diamonds, which should say, hey, I'm interested in diamonds. If they were interested in clubs, they could bid 3 hearts. Clearly, you don't want to be in a major, so those shouldn't be natural. So 3 spades should confirm interest in diamonds, and then you can use whatever methods you have to potentially arrive in 6 diamonds. A fantastic spot on this hand that a lot of other pairs won't necessarily get to. Then we talked about the 6-4, 6-4 being 6 cards in a minor, 4 cards in a major, how to handle that when you have a strong hand. Because we said what we were planning on doing with the weak hands is we were going to bid Stamen and then bid 3 of the minor to drop, instead of the conventional way of that actually being strong. So with this hand, what I would recommend doing over a no trump is bidding 2 spades, a size ask, or clubs. Our partner's going to either respond 2 no or 3 clubs depending on how they're feeling. It's a 16 count, but it's just aces. It doesn't have any other honors and only has 110, so you could go low, you could go high. Depends on whether you're return or not. And then over whatever response that is, what I would recommend bidding with the South hand is I would recommend bidding the other major instead of your actual major, because it's part of like the whole thing and trying to right side this. You should bid the other major so that your partner ends up playing the hand. So you would bid 3 hearts instead of 3 spades to show this. And then you end up in your spade fit because now your partner knows you have 4 spades and you wind up playing spades, which is the best way to recover this, because if you didn't have spades, you could potentially find a club slam. So it's a good way to show a 2-suiter there. Then we talked about how to handle both minors weak. With both minors weak, we bid 2 no. 2 no over 1 no is either diamonds or both minors weak. Does partner know you have clubs on that sequence? Yes, because we wouldn't have gone through that if we didn't have clubs. I mean, you have to have clubs for that bid when you start with 2 spades, because 2 spades is either clubs or both minor strong or a size ask. So when you bid that, you're implying clubs also. If you didn't have clubs, you wouldn't have done it to begin with. So both minors weak. We would bid 2 no over 1 no here, and then our partner would bid their better minor. So it would go 1 no, 2 no, and now our partner would bid 3 diamonds. They might bid 3 clubs, but I think with having equal length, you would just bid the one you're better in, especially when you may not always have clubs. You should always have diamonds, though, so they would bid 3 diamonds here, and that's where you would wind up. Puppet Stamen. Puppet Stamen is a good way to look for a 5-3 fit after opening a no trump, which you don't necessarily have available to you with just regular Stamen. So on this hand, for example, North would open a no trump, and South is interested in finding a 5-3 spade fit potentially, because after all, they only have a doubleton heart. They would want to be in spades if that's the right spot. So you start by bidding 3 clubs, and the responses, if your partner has a 5-card suit, they bid it. So here they bid 3 spades, and then you wind up in 4 spades over 3 no. So that's how you can recover with opening 1 no with 5-card majors and still finding your 5-3 fits, is with Puppet Stamen. Of course, with Puppet Stamen, you have to have a game-forcing hand to use it. So you have to have at least 10 points, because if your partner doesn't have a major, they will bid 3 no. The 5-5 major invitational hand. The 5-5 major invitational hand, you can do that by bidding 3 diamonds over 1 no trump. It's invitational or better. So here, North would open a no trump. South would bid 3 diamonds, which is 5-5 invitational or better in the majors. And now North, with a 16 count and good major cards, ace 10 third of spades and king dub opposite 5 hearts, would probably plop this hand into 4 spades, which is a good spot to be in here. And then last but not least, we talked about the Splinter Bids over 1 no trump, meaning using 3 hearts and 3 spades as showing stiffs in that major, 3 cards in the other major, and then 5-4 in the minors. The reason it's that shape specifically is because you have every other shape covered for you with the no trumps. You have your 5-5s, your 6-card minors, your 6-4s. You have every other shape available covered by other bids. So the 5-4-3-1 is the only one we haven't tackled. So here, for example, it goes 1 no trump, and now the south hand bids 3 spades to show that hand. And now with the north hand, you know that 3-no is not a good spot here. You have queen empty third of spades, you know the spade lead is coming, and you know you're probably off the first 5 spade tricks. So now you try to hunt for your best spot. And here, you know what the best spot is? The best spot is actually 4 hearts. And that spot, finding that spot becomes a lot easier with that bid available, once you know they have 3 cards in the other major. So now, with that north hand, I would probably bid 4 hearts, grid it out in a 4-3, and sure enough, 4 hearts is a fantastic spot as opposed to 4 spades. It's probably actually, I mean, 5 diamonds will probably make as well, but 4 hearts gathers a lot of match points, and that's how you can find something like that with that convention. So that's pretty cool how you can find those perfect 4-3s when you don't belong in 3 no trump with that splinter bid. And now we go on to today's lesson. And today, we're going to be talking about, and I'm using P-Mingle as feedback from last time, and I'm actually going to scroll through my notes while doing this instead of just talking. So we're going to talk about handling no-trump interference today, because that's really the last section we have to cover for 1 no before we go to the rest. Well, we didn't ask you to understand, Bat. This is for people who are not here to watch Snake suffer. Or watch me suffer with Snake, rather. So, we're going to handle no-trump interference. The first thing I'm going to say is that systems should be on over double and 2 clubs. There are exceptions, of course, but that's generally the best way to treat it. I know people like to some people play stolen bid. Zoom in. Okay, let's increase this. There we go. That looks a little better. Stolen bid is a losing system. There's much better ways of handling interference than using stolen bid. So let's talk about when they double some of our conventional bids to begin. So let's start by talking about Stamen. Doubling Stamen happens a lot, when they want to make a club lead, so we should know how to handle it. So my recommendation is that passing does not say anything about a major. It just denies a club stopper. And then if your partner wants to ask once again, they can redouble, which basically re-asks the question and says, hey, do you have a stopper or not? Now, the reason you might want to make that distinction is because if you guys don't have a major suit fit, you want to know whether you belong in 3-no or not. And that depends on your partner showing a stopper or not. And if you don't have one and your partner doesn't show one, then obviously you shouldn't be in 3-no. You should find another spot to play in. So that's why denying versus promising is very important. So my recommendation as pass denies a club stopper with any major suit holding. A redouble would re-ask. A redouble would say, I'm willing to play 2 clubs redoubled. They just made a bad double. We can make them pay for it. Like if I'm sitting on King, Queen, 4th, or King, 5th of clubs, we can say, hey, you're done. Hey, thanks for the follow, Guy Orchestra, and we can redouble and make them pay for doubling us in the first place. That's a good way to rack up a score. And then 2 of whatever would be our normal response to Stamen, but this time we're now promising a club stopper. That way, if we don't have that fit, our partner knows that we can still play a no trump because we have a stopper in that suit. So 2 diamonds, 2 hearts, and 2 spades would be what they normally mean over Stamen, but comes with the added bonus that we do have something in clubs. A kind of similar treatment for transfers, although it's not exactly the same, because the key thing I'll say about a transfer is that the first thing you should know about is whether you have support, and then you should focus on having a stopper versus not having a stopper. So the generic way of handling how they... No, it's the re-ask is for rebidding Stamen. The redouble is saying, hey, I'm interested in knowing what your response to Stamen would be. That way, if they actually have 4 hearts, and you have 4 hearts, you can find your heart suit again. It's re-prompting Stamen, and this time I'm going to respond. So, a kind of similar concept with transfers, but the first thing I'll say about transfers is that a pass should be denying a fit. It should be a 2-card support. And then if your partner wants to just put you back there, they can always redouble to retransfer, or redouble over to double. You could play it as, hey, I want to punish them, but that's not going to come up very often. I think the more common treatment to play would be at least 3 card support with no stopper. The reason that this could be helpful is because now, if you've shown no stopper with the redouble, instead of your partner retransferring you so that you're the declarer, what if they have a stopper? Now they can become the declarer, and you could potentially right side this contract instead of it going through them. So now they can just, like, knowing that you have a fit, if they want to be in game, they could jump to 4 hearts instead of retransfer into hearts and make you the declarer. That way you could potentially right side this thing. And then bidding, the general response to a transfer would be at least 3 card support, but this time it would have a stopper. That way you are right-siding it by you bidding it. Yeah, right-siding is very important, which is why I think that might be a good treatment. So that's handling Stamen in transfers and when they double. That is important to know. I think it's important to have some kind of system there, because you shouldn't be pushed around when they make those bids and have no treatment. You should make them pay whenever you can, and should also be able to find your best spot. And this way, I think, handles all those scenarios. The next thing we're going to talk about is Labensaul. Labensaul is one of my favorite conventions in Bridge. It's very powerful. It doesn't even just come up over no trump interference. It comes up in a lot of different scenarios. It's one of the best ways to show not only a variety hands, but at the same time, not bidding it also shows a different variety of hands. It's a very all-encompassing bid. So let's just talk about the general treatment. I mean, I could go through my system notes and give you the whole chart of what everything is. Yeah, if Bridge conventions could be sexy, and if they had like a rating assigned to them, like, you know, guys and girls normally like to assign numbers to the opposite gender, or the same gender if you're into that, I would give Labensaul a 9.5 out of 10. It's pretty hot, not gonna lie. The basic idea with what Labensaul is that if we can bid whatever our suit is over their interference at the 2 level, it's weak. It's a drop dead, so like 1 no trump by me, 2 diamonds on your right, you bid 2 hearts, that's just 5 or more hearts, less than 8 points, it's a drop. Just playing 2 hearts. We don't play stolen bid. You would just bid 2 hearts there and plop the auction. Same thing with 2 spades. If you can't afford to bid your suit at the 2 level, that's when Labensaul comes into play. And that's when you make this all-encompassing 2 no trump bid. 2 no trump forces your partner to bid 3 clubs. And then over 3 clubs, they can do a lot of different things. If you could not bid your suit at the 2 level to begin with, and now you bid that suit over 3 clubs, it's weak. So like 1 no, 2 spades, and I'm sitting on a hand with like 3 or 4 points and 6 hearts. Well, I certainly know we have a heart fit, so I would bid 2 no trump, my partner would bid 3 clubs, and now I would bid 3 hearts to say, hey, I had a heart suit, and we could we drop like that. Now you could be saying, well, you're not really right-siding the contract if you're bidding it like that. That's true. There are some people who play transfer Labensaul, but I don't really want to get into that. It's pretty complicated, so I'm just going to teach regular Labensaul instead. But it is a good discussion to have with a regular partner, is, you know, how effective is regular Labensaul if you're not necessarily right-siding contracts when you do it this way. Yeah, I mean, the general guideline is you just gotta think about whether they could bid their suit on the 2 level to begin with. If they can't, then it's got to be weak, and if not, then it's got to be something stronger. So the next thing I'll say is that if you could bid your suit on the 2 level to begin with, and now you bid it over 3 clubs after going through Labensaul, it should be invitational. Certainly, it wouldn't be weak if you could have bid it on the 2 level, because that would have been weak. So let's say, for example, we've got like a 9 count with 5 spades, and it goes 1 no trump, and they bid 2 hearts. Well, 2 spades would be weak. We're not going to bid weak with a 9 count. We could still have game on the table. So what I would do here is I would bid 2 no, and then it forces my partner to bid 3 clubs, over which I bid 3 spades, which now shows an invitational hand with spades. So that's how you can distinguish between those two. I could, in this situation I just described, I can bid my suit on the 2 level. That way it comes with more points when I bid it like that, as opposed to the first one where I was trying to show hearts after they had interfered with spades. So that's how you can show invitational and weak hands. If you take a jump over their bid, it's game forcing. So let's say I have a 11 count with 5 spades. 1 no, 2 hearts. I now jump the 3 spades. That says I've got a forcing bid with spades. Now you know we belong in game, so they can bid 3 no or 4 spades, depending on whatever the situation is, and you can find your thing there. Another key nice advantage of Labensaul is that you have different ways to show stoppers and deny stoppers in the suits. So, for example, let's say we have enough points to be in 3 no trump, but we don't have a stopper in their suit. Like, let's say it goes 1 no, 2 hearts. We're not interested in finding a spade fit. We don't have a 4-card major, but we have an 11 count and we don't have a heart stopper. So here, what you would do with Labensaul is you would jump right to 3 no. It would be bidding 3 no directly, and I know I got these out of order. I'm sorry, but bidding 3 no directly over their interference would deny a stopper, and would basically say, partner, hey, if you don't have a stopper yourself, we probably don't belong in 3 no trump, and it gives them the option to potentially pull it if they don't have it. Of course, if you don't have a stopper and you don't have spades or the other major, you probably have a minor fit, because you probably have at least 4 cards in a minor. You should have at least 4 cards in a minor, and you could potentially like pull this into like 4 clubs or 4 diamonds as your last train spot instead of being in 3 no trump, which is going to be doomed. So that's how you can deny a stopper, even though you have the points to be in game. Now, if you do have a stopper, you need to show it to your partner. So what you would do here is you would actually go through Labensaul. So 1 no, 2 hearts, 2 no, forcing me to bid 3 clubs. Now you bid 3 no. That basically shows the same thing as the hand before. The only difference is now you are promising a heart stopper. Now I know if I don't have one myself, we can still play in 3 no trump. So that's how you can show and deny a stopper. Likewise, you can do the same thing with Stamen, if you're still interested in finding a fit. So the general way to bid Stamen after they've interfered over 1 no trump is to bid 3 of their suit. Just Q bid their suit, because clearly that wouldn't be natural. So like 1 no, 2 diamonds, 3 diamonds. Now when we bid it directly, we're denying a stopper. We're just going to use the same principle we used before. So this would be Stamen without a stopper in diamonds. That way, our partner knows, hey, if we don't have a major suit fit, then maybe we shouldn't just bid 3 no trump. Right, exactly. Slow shows and fast denies. That's the general way you should play it, and that's how you can differentiate those two scenarios. So 1 no, 2 diamonds, 3 diamonds would be game forcing Stamen. I say game forcing because, of course, you can't be below 3 no trump. It denies a stopper. Now, you could do the same thing and show a stopper by going through Labensaul. 1 no, 2 diamonds, 2 no, forcing me to bid 3 clubs. 3 diamonds is Stamen once again, game forcing Stamen, but this time you show a stopper. That way, if you don't have a major suit fit, you can safely be in 3 no trump. So it's very useful to have that differentiation between the presence and absence of a stopper. It makes a lot of bidding situations a lot clearer. And then the other point I'll say about Labensaul is that you should still have Texas transfers on, because with Texas transfers you can still jump. So 1 no, 2 diamonds, 4 diamonds, and 4 hearts should still be Texas. So you still have that system available to you in case you're interested in having that. So that's just basically a very fast summary of Labensaul. There's a lot of documentation out on it on the web. I'll put a link to a good overview of it on our bidding channel on our Discord server if you guys have not heard of it before. but that's why it's such a powerful convention. And foreshadowing, that is not going to be the first time. That's not going to be the only time we talk about Labensaul here. We're going to come back to it a few times in this lecture series. Bum, bum, bum. All right. Now, let's talk about what we would use as a double if they bid anything other than 2 clubs over 1 no. Because 2 clubs doubled should be Stamen. So, a lot of people have some different thoughts on what double should be in this situation. Experts generally prefer to play the double as negative in takeout. I've actually asked Mextroth and Rodwell about this. That's the advantage of having them in your ex-local club, is being able to ask them questions like this. I asked them what they generally like double as after they interfere over 1 no trump, and they say takeout. Because more often than not, that's the type of hand you're going to actually have. So, like, let's say it goes 1 no, 2 hearts, and you've got like a 6 or 7 count with 4 spades and like a doubleton heart. You can now double and get yourselves back in this auction because your partner can now bid 2 spades if you have a 4-4 fit, or they could do whatever, and you could be back in this hand after they interfere. You know, if you don't have a system there, or if you don't have an agreement, it's very tough to recover, and that's exactly why they interfere. Because if you don't have a treatment for it, they can run all over you. So, the general expert consensus is that double should be negative/takeout. I would say don't overdo this and bid this on a bad hand, because if your partner wants to convert it for penalty, they should be able to trust you. So, like, if you have a 3 count and you're void in hearts, don't double, because if your partner's sitting on a 4-bagger in their suit and wants to convert this, now you're going to eat this double because you doubled weak. You should have some points to do this so that you can withstand having your partner convert it, and it should still go your way, if that makes any sense. Your partner's not forced to bid. Your partner should be able to trust you and pass if they think that's the best decision. But you shouldn't, like, bid hyper aggressively so that they regret their decision. I've also seen some people play it as negative when it's non-bull and penalty when it's full, because obviously when they're red is when you pick up the telephone numbers. I guess that's an okay treatment, but I'm also one who just prefers doing it like negative/takeout always, because after all, it's a more likely scenario. I'm sorry that's going to offend my friends in the chat who love to take telephone numbers off of opponents, but more often than not, you're going to have the ladder scenario, and you're not going to be able to drum up an 800. At the end of the day, most people who come in over 1 no trump, in higher level competition at least, aren't psychotic. And so, I will say, at the club level, you might want to rethink that, because at the club level, people bid way too aggressively over 1 no trump, and that's when you should make them pay. But in a big tournament, when they're actually going to know what they're doing, I would think twice about that. So, I wanted to wrap up this lecture, or this part of the series, we're talking about how we should handle some no-trump defenses. Obviously, there's a lot of different no-trump defenses out there. We haven't even talked about defense to no-trump, so I haven't even talked about what I recommend. But I know there's so many different ones out there. So I think there's just some ones that we have to address and talk about how we would handle it. And the first one that comes to mind is 1 no trump 2 clubs to show both majors. That is part of a few no trump defenses. So obviously, the standard beginning of double over 2 clubs is Stamen. But here, it doesn't make a lot of sense to be Stamen when they're showing both majors. Even if you have a major suit fit, it's coming with a bad break. And so it's not worthwhile to be in 4 hearts when you know you're getting a bad split. You would much rather just be at no trump in that case. So we should make the double mean something else. And so for what we're going to make double mean is we're going to make it mean the standard agreement over 2 suited bids. Double means I can penalize at least one of their 2 suits. That's a general agreement when they overcall 2-no, unusual 2-no. It's a standard agreement when they overcall Michaels. It should be the same exact thing here. You're saying you can punish either hearts or spades. And then, based on where they head to, you know how to double accordingly. 2 diamonds obviously makes no sense to be a transfer to hearts. So, I would just make this my new size ask. And I structured it accordingly for very good reasons. So 2 diamonds is our new size ask, but just the size ask part, nothing about clubs. 2 hearts would be min, 2 spades would be max. Obviously, you're not going to be interested in playing in either one of these two, so they should have an artificial meaning assigned to them. 2 hearts is our new transfer to clubs. And the cool part about making it 2 steps under instead of 1 step under like we generally do, where 2 spades is a transfer to clubs and 2-0 is a transfer to diamonds, is now you have the added room for 2 spades if you want to super accept. Now 2-0 can be the retransfer, and you still right side it. The super accept does not bury you now and forces you to wrong side the contract like it typically does over normal minor suit transfers. So now 2 spades being the super accept allows you to still retransfer with 2-0. Likewise, when 2 spades is your transfer to 3 diamonds, you now have 2-0 as a super accept, and 3 clubs can be your retransfer into diamonds. And obviously, if you're not super accepting, I would just recommend bidding 3 clubs or 3 diamonds, respectively. 2-0, instead of being invitational, because we have invitational covered here, I would make this weak with both minors, asking my partner to bid their better minor. And then lastly, 3 of a minor is natural and forcing. Does that make sense? I've thought about this one night. This is how some of my conventions or my defenses come into being, is that I just think about them at 11:30 at night at a tournament when my partner and I are discussing the card, and then I just put it into fruition. But that makes a lot of sense to me. I mean, I don't think you're going to find a lot of resources out there on this type of stuff, but that's what I think is a good way of structuring a defense against their defense, a counter defense, an offense, so to say. So the lack of chat is a little concerning, but I'll hope it's all good. Next one is 1-0, 2 diamonds, showing both majors. This is also a common one. If you play multi-landy, 2 diamonds would be both majors here. So I'm going to recommend the same exact defense that I had over 2 clubs. Except we're going to lose the 2 diamond invite bid, because we can't bid 2 diamonds over 2 diamonds. We're going to lose that part, but I'm going to, for ease of use, I'm going to keep everything else intact, because the other parts are very helpful. We lost the invite. Now you just have to decide whether to fling 3 no trump on the table or go low. But there really is no good way to fit everything in over 2 diamonds. It's a lot easier over 2 clubs when you have this added bid. So I would just take all of this and copy and paste it and forget this part, is what I'm saying. And then the last one that we have to talk about is 1-0, 2-0, showing both minors. This is basically a part of any no trump defense, regardless of which one you're playing. Unless you're playing something super fancy, 1-0, 2-0 is probably showing both minors. So, what I would recommend here is the same thing for double. Penalize at least one of their 2 suits. 3 clubs should be some form of Stamen. I recommend, instead of just regular Stamen, I recommend having Puppet Stamen or Muppet Stamen, which I'm going to get into at some point, available. That way, you can actually find your 5-3 fit still. So now that allows you to bid. Can I start over? Yeah, we'll start all the way from the beginning. Just kidding. This video will be on YouTube, so you'll be able to find it there. That was a good That was a good attempt, though. Yeah, Cooney's just trolling. Don't worry about it. If it was DT, I wouldn't think it's trolling. Okay, 3 clubs is Puppet Stamen or Muppet. That way you can find your 5-3 fits still over that bid. Why Muppet Stamen is actually important here, I guess I'll now use this time to distinguish the two. So, to just talk about Muppet Stamen, so Muppet is basically Puppet Stamen, but the change is that we flip the 3 heart and 3 no bids. And this is something Geek talked about last time, or he kind of briefly alluded to it. So what I'm saying with Muppet Stamen is 1 no, and let's just assume there's no interference here. 1 no, 3 clubs, 3 hearts, which typically showed 5 hearts in Puppet Stamen, now instead shows, denies a 4 or 5 card major. Likewise, 1 no, 3 clubs, 3 no trump shows 5 hearts. Now, why would you flip these? Well, the reason you could potentially flip these is because you have a lot less room over this 2 no trump bid to show all the different types of shapes you can have, right? It's a lot easier if they don't interfere, and now you can show your 5-4 major hands easily, right? But now when they're bidding 2-0, they jammed up a lot of room, and you can't easily show that with these with as little space as you have. So why this would be important with Muppet is if you flip that 3 heart and 3 no bids, you have a little more convenience to you. So over 3 hearts in Muppet, 3 spades is a relay to 3 no. And then that way your partner, 3 spades is just a general relay layer. And then if you did not, and 3 no over 3 hearts shows 5 spades. Now the reason you might want to distinguish between those two is that way if you have like a hand like 5 spades and 4 hearts, for example, 5 spades and 4 hearts, you can now bid 3 no here, and your partner can bid your 5-3 spade fit if you have it, and if not, can leave it in 3 no. So it's kind of clever for that reason. You can now say strictly this shows 5 spades and 4 hearts. I can put the slash there. So that's the reasoning for playing Muppet Stamen as opposed to regular Puppet, if that makes any sense. 3 diamonds over 1 no 2 no is a relay to 3 hearts, pass or correct. So it's basically like a transfer, a weak transfer, because now we're just going to either pass 3 hearts or correct the 3 spades and show a weak hand. And then if we wanted to force, we would just bid 3 of our suit. 3 hearts or 3 spades would be natural enforcing. So we are able to do our Stamen, we're able to do our weak transfers, and we're able to do our strong natural bids. So the key thing here is based on what they're showing, you should be able to do the opposite. So in these auctions that I was talking about here, when they're showing both majors, you got to make your focus on the minors. And here, where they're showing both minors, you need to make your focus on finding your majors. Pretty clever how that works, right? Okay, so that's all I had for now. So let's go back to our trusty convention card and fill out what we talked about today. So we have this convention card that we've been filling out so far. And we'll add in our new stuff. Well, actually, I guess I already added part of it in. So we talked about Labensaul. We said that fast denies. We play negative doubles. Are there any defenses I recommend to Capoletti? Well, let's just recount what Capoletti is. So 2 clubs is a general 1-suitor. Over 2 clubs being a 1-suitor, there's no reason to have a defense, because that 1-suitor could be anything. So you should just play whatever you're normally playing there. 2 diamonds, both majors. Well, I already told you what my defense was to that. I just gave that above. 2 hearts and 2 spades show that major and a minor. I don't think there's really anything that's needed to counter that, because you can still find your other major, and you still have Labensaul available to you for the minor. So I don't really see a need for a special defense to that. And then, yeah, that's Capoletti there. I mean, the only thing that you need to talk about there with your partner is how you handle their penalty double over 1 no trump, and what it means when you pass versus when you redouble, what that means. That's a very, I mean, over strong no trumps, you don't see Capoletti getting played a lot. But over no trump overcalls, you sometimes see it. And so it's important to know what you, how you differentiate between, hey, we need to get the heck out of one no trump versus I can handle playing one no. So you and your partner need to have a discussion on whether pass is asking you to redouble, or whether redouble is handling the business, and what pass shows. How do you start your run out, so to say? I mean, you need to know how to start your run outs after they make the penalty double of one no trump, because they could easily be leaving it in, and it could get bloody. But yeah, I don't think any other special defenses are needed to that besides those. So we said we play negative doubles. We talked about Labensaul. I think this is a logical stopping point. Next time we'll talk about 2-no trump, the 2-no opening, and our follow-ups to that. What I'll just say as a preview is that with 1-no, we're able to show a lot of hands because we have a lot of room. Over 2-no, we don't have nearly as much room because we just have the 3 level. So now we got to be creative and consider how we're going to structure our bids in order to capture as much information as we can. So that will be our foreshadowing of what's to come there. So we'll talk about this box, and that probably will be pretty short, so I'll probably also fit in 3-no trump. And we will be done with the no trump box after that, and then we get into all this fun stuff coming up afterwards. But anyways, I think that's a logical stopping point, so I'm going to stop there. If you guys have any questions, let me know. And if you missed this at any point, the video will be on YouTube. I will take the highlight of it and put it on my channel later tonight. And then we'll continue this series on Monday, because we do it Mondays and Fridays. Monday at 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 Eastern, 1 Europe, whatever it is in other places. Thank you, Rusty. I'm glad you woke up for this. It's the only reason I get up in the morning is knowing that you're alive. Well, that's not completely true, but we'll do that. And yeah, let's keep streaming. If you are interested in just the bidding series, this is where I'm going to stop it for today. But there's still plenty of daylight. There's still plenty of keyboards to be broken. And I will keep doing the hand recaps, and I will continue going through the notes going